Hello, everyone. I welcome you all yet again on another very exciting webinar day. The title for today's webinar is Innovating During Crisis. It's COVID-19 and Digital Civic Services. We have very exciting two entrepreneurs from our two startups, Sudpay from Senegal, and we have Qlue from Indonesia. Both of them are working on CivicTech. Today's session will be moderated by our head of GSMA M4D, Mr. Max Kaviller. Without any further delay, I will request Max to start his session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bilal. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to some of you. Welcome, and thank you very much for joining us. As Bilal said, I'm Max Kaviller, the head of mobile for development at GSMA, for those of you who have not met in the past. So this is the third of our Innovating During Crisis series that focuses on startups across Africa and Asia Pacific, how they contribute to the global effort to fight the pandemic and its consequences, and also how the crisis is affecting the business, sometimes positively and sometimes not so. We talked in the past sessions about health and education, and today we're focusing, as Bilal was saying, on a topic that is probably too often overlooked, but really shouldn't, in our opinion. The impact of the crisis is really obvious in some areas. It has put the traditional education system on hold in most countries around the world. It has also put too many healthcare systems under a lot of pressure. But it would be wrong to ignore the potential impact on us as citizens, both from a rights and from a duty point of view. Basic civic functions such as voting or tax collections or community engagement really need to keep operating even in lockdown context. So today we're joined by two civic tech professionals who will give us their perspective on the crisis and the challenges, but also the opportunities that it's brought to their respective business. Maya Arvini, who's the Chief Operation Officer from Qlue, and Sambaso, who's the CEO of Sudpay. And I'm very excited to give them the floor in a minute, but before we start, I have a couple housekeeping notes. Please feel free to use the chat function that you see on the right to talk to one another. If you want to tell us actually from where you're dialing in to try and test the chat at the same time, please feel free to do so. I will be, and the team will help me in monitoring the Q&A section. So if you have any specific questions you want to direct to both speakers, to one in particular, please submit them in the Q&A section. And finally, Samba and I will probably have to switch to French from time to time, but don't worry, we'll keep his answers in French short, and I will obviously translate, both ways. But let's get started, and I will turn to you, Maya, to begin. So Qlue in Indonesia, you're joining us from Jakarta. Can you explain briefly to us what the company does?
Okay. Thank you, Max and GSMA and everybody here. So I think it's quite in the morning for most of you guys. So we are in Jakarta, Indonesia. Here is at 3 p.m. And thanks again for inviting us for this webinar session. We really appreciate it. So Qlue Smart City actually is the most complete smart city provider ecosystem in Indonesia. And our core technology actually based in artificial intelligence and Internet of Things. So we built by ourselves. There is so many engine based on the computer vision and also the sensor. And nowadays is becoming a lot of opportunity for us during this pandemic session. So I think that's the short brief from me. And my name is Maya Arvini. I in charge for both operational and commercial in Qlue Smart City.
Et Samba, tu peux nous expliquer ce que fait Sudpay?
Ok, merci Max, merci GSMA et l'ensemble des personnes qui sont connectées pour suivre ce webinaire. Alors, Sudpay, basé à Dakar, est en train d'aider les municipalités à collecter, à réduire la fraude, collecter les taxes d'une manière digitale et à aider aussi les contribuables à être inclus financièrement. Voilà ce que nous faisons au Sénégal et dans la sous-région.
Thank you very much, Samba. So Samba thanks obviously all of us for joining. He joins us from Dakar in Senegal. And in short, what Sudpay does is it helps municipalities collect tax and therefore reduce fraud, while at the same time help taxpayer manage the tax in a more sustainable way. Samba, so far, would you say that the COVID-19 pandemic has been more of a threat or more of an opportunity for Sudpay? Samba, pour le moment, tu penses que la crise a été une opportunité ou plutôt une menace pour Sudpay?
C'est plutôt une menace pour Sudpay, mais il y a aussi une fenêtre d'opportunité qui s'ouvre à nous. C'est une menace parce que tout simplement, lorsqu'on a confiné les gens, les marchés étaient fermés. Donc, les municipalités ne pouvaient pas collecter. Du coup, en fait, on perdait des recettes. Alors, c'est une opportunité parce que lorsqu'on a confiné, les commerçants ne pouvaient pas aller au marché. Donc, du coup, les commerçants, en fait, perdaient des recettes énormément. Et il y a certains même qui ont complètement vu leur business, en fait, évaporer parce que tout simplement, il n'y a pas eu de vente et ils avaient du mal à survivre. Et puisqu'ils n'ont pas accès à des services financiers ni à de l'épargne, parce que c'est des clients qui ne prévoient pas ça. Et aujourd'hui, ils ont beaucoup de difficultés. Il y a beaucoup qui ont beaucoup de difficultés aujourd'hui à survivre, à tenir. Donc, c'est une menace parce que tout simplement, les communes n'ont pas collecté ce qui n'arrange pas ce pays. C'est une opportunité parce que notre deuxième ligne de business, qui est l'inclusion financière, aujourd'hui, on est en train de se focaliser plus sur ça parce que tout simplement, c'est devenu une vraie réalité, un vrai besoin pour les contribuables.
Okay, thank you very much, Samba. So Samba says that actually the crisis is both a threat and an opportunity. Short term, it is definitely a threat because a lot of their business basically focuses on helping municipalities collect tax from small business owners on markets and so on, and all those markets have stopped. And obviously, the crisis also has, with the lockdowns, had a big impact on their business. So short term, it is definitely a threat with the business going down, but he also sees an opportunities in it because the second line of business of Sudpay is actually focusing on financial inclusion and providing access to finance for those small business owners. So in the situation that they're in at the moment, they actually need those services. So basically the two sides of the business are on one side suffering from a threat, but on the other side building on an opportunity. If I turn to you, Maya, COVID-19 so far in the future for Qlue, more of a threat or more of an opportunity?
Well, we always be optimistic, Max. So we've seen this as an opportunity, of course. So here we are starting like the local lockdown by mid-March. And then I think during in the first 2 months, everybody here in Indonesia, even though it's like government or even it's a corporate or even startup like us, is really looking how is the future ahead. So there is like so many insecurities, you know, and so many startup, yeah, even some unicorns is doing a lot of layoff. But well, the beauty Qlue is very agile. So we see that this kind of situation will be like this. I think could be like taking, I don't know, like 1 year ahead. So we decide to shifting around and pivot all of our portfolio of product and including the business model as well. Yeah. So we see this as an opportunity. So that's why we are building lots of portfolio that embracing the new normal in Indonesia. And I don't think the competition, this is talking about like local competition, there is a lot of startup or company ready. So most of the competition actually is coming from some sensor, for example, like in China and so on. But the beauty is because we are doing by ourselves here, the readiness, you know, and the a lot of competitive advantage that our engineer is based here, and then the availability of the product, and then our post-sale service as well is very good. So I think we are really looking this as an opportunity ahead. But the key is more on the agility and how we cope with all of these circumstances. So yeah, I think well, we're still optimistic with this situation until up ahead.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good trait of startups in general, optimism and ahead. But I totally hear what you say about building solutions locally and in context where traveling is harder and where even like global companies might have to focus on the handful of markets that they know really well and so on. It's a great opportunity for local solutions like Qlue to develop locally and grow. A question specifically on partnerships. Have you seen in the past 3 months like difference in terms of the type of players that you partner with, or new partnerships or old partnerships that have grown, for instance?
Yeah. So I think most of the opportunity is come up with, we call it like principal or the product or the company that produce the product or solution like us. I can see several companies, something like a system integrator or some of our partner is still like looking for any solution that built by other company like us. So they are, and I think there is a lot shifting as well in terms of our clients, because like our solution is being used across industry, right? But we can see very clear several industry is really slowing down. So for example, here like retail, I think same with everywhere, store, I mean, and then like hospitality, you know, for sure, and then some of the sector here is also closing down, right? So those kind of company or even our solution that focus on that kind of industry is also slowing down. So that's why some things like we offer to the government, yeah, because Indonesia is a big country, right? And we have like 512 cities in Indonesia. So each of any leader in a city is looking any kind of solution, how they can cope with this situation. So that's why we see this as an opportunity, and looking from there, we see that a local assembly or local production that provide, for example, like thermal sensor, you know, that kind of stuff we didn't see in the market. Yeah. So that's why, yeah, we are, I think we call it ourselves pivoting our portfolio solution, including the business model. So we adopt, and then we finally successfully within less than 1 month built the thermal sensor. And nowadays, even though only like, I think we just launched the product like only 3 weeks, there is so many company locally using our solution. So I think that's a really good credential for us.
Okay. Yeah. So in short, it's forced you to maybe refocus, but you found partners that maybe you were not working with before. And if I turn to you, Samba, in your case, has the relationship with your partners changed, or have you found new partners in the current context? En français, Samba, dans le contexte actuel, est-ce qu'il y a eu un changement avec le type de partenaire que vous avez, ou est-ce que votre relation avec vos partenaires a changé, en particulier les municipalités? Il faut réactiver ton micro.
Oui, merci Maxime. En fait, la relation, le partenariat avec les municipalités n'a pas changé du tout. Ça a évolué même parce qu'aujourd'hui, on s'est rendu compte que les municipalités se sont rendues compte qu'ils ne disposent pas réellement de bases de données de leur population. Et la preuve est que lorsque l'État a lancé le force Covid pour aider les familles les plus démunies, aujourd'hui ils ont du mal ils avaient du mal à faire ce recensement correctement, parce qu'ils ne disposent pas de base de données. Alors que nous, on avait déjà une base de données pour certaines communes, qui pouvait aider les municipalités à détecter, les familles les plus démunies, particulièrement les marchands les plus démunis qui ont des business qui sont très fragiles et qu'avec ce Covid-là, ils sont très impactés. Donc, ça nous a même permis, de revoir le produit, de retravailler le produit, de le designer encore pour mieux répondre, aux besoins de ces communes en intégrant, la partie vulnérabilité des familles vulnérables. On va recenser dans la plateforme pour permettre à l'État d'avoir une visibilité sur ces familles-là et de pouvoir les aider plus tard sur d'autres actions. On a aussi d'autres partenariats avec d'autres institutions, comme par exemple les micro-assurances qui nous ont contactés en fait pour s'intégrer dans le système aujourd'hui, parce que avec le confinement, tout le monde le sait, personne ne pouvait collecter, donc il fallait pour eux en tout cas trouver une autre solution. Donc ça, avec le Covid, nous a permis de pouvoir sceller des partenaires avec ces institutions-là.
Merci, Samba. That's actually really interesting on the partnership side. So Samba mentioned two examples. Sudpay works a lot with municipalities, and obviously a lot of them do not have like good stable systems or databases of their local constituents, and the state in Senegal has tried to launch a lot of social protection and business protection measures to help, in particular, the most vulnerable population and the most vulnerable businesses. And in municipalities where Sudpay had started to digitalize those databases, it becomes a very powerful tool to basically be able to push cash to these vulnerable population very easily. So that's a new business model here where the database exists. And the other example that Samba mentioned is they've been contacted by a lot of micro-insurance companies because suddenly they've been in a really difficult situation to collect payments, and basically realized that the Sudpay solution, which works to collect tax payments for municipalities, actually you can use the same solution to collect micro-insurance payment for micro-insurance companies. So that's potentially a new line of business that could come out of the situation. I want to talk about funding, and I'll turn back to you to Maya. Obviously, when you're a startup and still quite early stage and at a growth phase, you need money to keep going, and usually you need to raise money on a quite regular basis. And when you think about funding, generally speaking, you usually think fintech or e-commerce or agri-tech, health tech, but you don't hear a lot about CivicTech. So my question to you is, how do you attract investors, and in particular in the current context where the money might be a little bit risk averse?
Yeah. So this is what really interesting, So we just start our round in Serie B just last December, and then before our government announced about the local lockdown in Indonesia, actually just start by 14 March, yeah. So we should close everything like end of March or end of April. So can you imagine how dynamic it is because of this pandemic situation? And suddenly some of the investors that's already in very detailed due diligence with us, they are also slowing down, right? So, but the difference is since I joined Qlue last year, we are very disciplined. I think that's the mandate from the board of the existing shareholder and also the founders for me to build a lean organization and also very cost efficient in operational. So we are very disciplined since last year. So that's why during this crisis, when so many, not only startup, but also very big company, whatever, is doing so many efficiency and layoff. Well, actually, because we are building so many portfolio, we are expanding, So we are in a quite a different phase with so many startup, even though we are still in the Serie A. And the good thing, all of those potential investor that already in discussion very detailed with us. See, Qlue, even though we just still in Serie A, but we already self-sustain and also in profit, because because our business model is B2B, and all the license and the pricing that we set to the clients, I built as a minimum 3 years contract. Yeah. That's how we can sustain everything during this crisis. So looking at how independent and I can say self-sustained for the past 4 months during this pandemic, because it is very intense, right? And so many startup, I believe it's everywhere, not only in Indonesia, is closing down, right? All the investor potential see us very convincing, So the good thing is the due diligence and so on is still continue, and I think we are going to close the Series B by end of July, the latest. So this is the phase that I think not only startup but also corporation prove themselves that they have that kind of agility, and then and also focus how they would like to sustain the business. I think that's the key if you want to be success in this kind of situation.
What you say echoes to what a lot of startups are telling us. It's you don't want a crisis. No one wants a crisis, but obviously it's a really good test of how lean and agile you are. And I remember when we met a year ago, like you had just started and your objective was actually to be leaner, to be more agile, and to have those long-term contracts that build like profit and sustainability. That obviously puts you in a much better place when you have to go and look for money. So I'm very, very happy to hear that discussions are progressing despite the lockdown, and that you're hoping to close by the end of July, hopefully. Now the same question for you, Samba. And there's less money in Senegal in terms of investment than there is in a larger market like Indonesia. So I'm interested to hear what the impact the crisis can have on raising money to sustain your operations. So Samba, la question elle est sur les levées de fonds, en particulier dans le contexte actuel, il n'est pas forcément facile de lever de l'argent. Qu'est-ce que tu vois comme impact sur votre capacité à lever assez d'argent pour continuer à opérer dans le contexte actuel? Il faut réactiver le micro.
Les levées de fonds ont toujours été en fait une difficulté pour nous Sudpay depuis plus de 2 ans. On a beaucoup contacté beaucoup d'investisseurs. Il y a énormément d'investisseurs qui nous contactent. Mais en fait, dans les discussions, le produit les intéresse. Mais après, à la fin, le blocage sera le fait qu'on travaille avec les municipalités. Pour eux, c'est un gouvernement au niveau local et ça ne les rassure pas parce que après le paiement peut-être ne sera pas en tout cas fait dans les délais. Ce qui fait que ça fait peur aux investisseurs. Ça a été toujours le blocage jusqu'à présent. Et finalement, on a tellement discuté avec des investisseurs qu'on a après arrêté de discuter avec les investisseurs. Récemment, en réfléchissant, on s'est dit, si on veut vraiment attirer les investisseurs, il faut qu'on développe la deuxième en fait phase, qui est la seconde ligne de produit, qui est en fait la partie inclusion financière, pour pouvoir les attirer, pour pouvoir compenser en gros, en tout cas, le risque en tout cas que courent les investisseurs. Donc on est en train vraiment de travailler là-dessus, de mettre l'accent à fond sur ce volet-là pour pouvoir les attirer. Mais uniquement sur la collecte des taxes, ça ne les rassure pas du tout. Et le blocage est toujours là pour nous. Si on reste sur cette ligne de business, on ne pourra jamais en tout cas lever des fonds. En tout cas, on ne le prévoit pas. Raison pour laquelle on est en train de développer en fait la seconde partie de ligne de business, qui est l'inclusion financière, pour pouvoir les attirer dans notre capital.
Ok. C'est assez intéressant. So let me translate. So Samba and Sudpay have been trying to raise money for 2 years, or actually a little bit over that, and they've had a lot of difficulties. And basically, they talk to a lot of investors, and at the end of the day, what seems to be the blocking point is that Sudpay, up until recently, their main activity was working with municipalities for tax collection, and a lot of investors are a little bit wary of municipalities and whether they will pay and whether the business is sustainable. So at the end of the day, even if they like the company, they're not super comfortable with basically investing in a quote-unquote B2G model. So this is why actually Sudpay stopped trying to approach investors with this kind of with their core value proposition and is building that second line of services, which was mentioned earlier around financial inclusion, where investors will be able to relate a lot more. So they're basically leveraging on what they've learned on the tax collection side, on the tech, but also the relationships and so on, to build this second part of the business that will be able to kind of compensate the risk that the investors might see in the first line of business, which is dealing with municipalities. I think that's actually a very interesting way of adapting your business to make sure that you build sustainability. I'm gonna stay with you, Samba, and ask you, what do you think the longer term trends are going to be that might have been accelerated or changed by COVID-19? Samba, en termes de tendances que tu vois dans le marché, qu'elles existaient déjà avant COVID-19 ou qu'elles étaient changées par la situation actuelle, est-ce que tu vois des gros changements qui arrivent sur le marché au Sénégal autour de la collecte de taxes ou de l'inclusion financière?
Oui, Maxime. En fait, aujourd'hui, moi, par exemple, j'ai discuté récemment avec beaucoup de communes qui ont aujourd'hui, il y a des communes aujourd'hui qui ça fait 2 mois ou 3 mois même, ils n'ont pas payé les salaires parce qu'ils n'ont plus de recettes, tout simplement, et c'est difficile pour eux aujourd'hui de tenir. Donc, en fait, moi, ce que je vois dans cette situation aujourd'hui, et même à ma part, pas plus tard, quand il y a 48 heures, j'ai discuté avec une commune. Aujourd'hui, en fait, le manque de recettes va leur impacter considérablement. Ils ne vont pas non seulement payer leurs employés, il y a certains déjà qui n'ont pas payé les employés, ils vont avoir aussi des difficultés pour investir. Et ça, c'est des choses que dans les prochains mois-là, il y a beaucoup de communes qui seront confrontées à ça aujourd'hui. Ça, c'est la première chose. La deuxième chose, c'est que le Covid n'est pas encore totalement terminé aujourd'hui. On est dans une situation où les contaminations ne cessent de croître. Aujourd'hui, en fait, la courbe ne descend pas. Et les communes ont besoin de collecter. Mais sans système, en fait, digital, ce sera difficile. Si le système était digitalisé, totalement digitalisé dans les marchés, même si aujourd'hui, en fait, il y a la courbe, en fait, de contamination qui croît, ça n'empêcherait pas, en fait, aux contribuables qui travaillent de pouvoir, en fait, payer la taxe locale. Mais aujourd'hui, avec cette situation, c'est impossible parce que les communes n'ont pas les moyens d'équiper les agents correctement sur le volet sanitaire pour les envoyer sur le terrain. Ça va poser des difficultés. Donc, je pense que les communes ont intérêt aujourd'hui à changer complètement leur manière de faire, à changer complètement la manière de collecter les taxes pour mieux sécuriser les taxes et mieux collecter sûrement et en fait collecter beaucoup plus d'argent. Donc, je pense que la tendance est là, ça va changer complètement. Et les contribuables, comme je vous ai dit au départ, ils ont intérêt aujourd'hui à être inclus financièrement parce que le Covid a montré que sans être inclus financièrement, si ces situations arrivent, en fait, on est complètement laissé en fait pour compte parce qu'aujourd'hui l'État aide les entreprises qui ont des difficultés. Mais les marchands qui ont des petits budgets, qui ont des difficultés, les États ne peuvent pas les identifier pour les aider. Donc, je pense qu'ils ont tous intérêt à être plus formalisés, à avoir accès à des services financiers pour qu'en de pareilles situations, ils peuvent s'en sortir avec, en tout cas, ces services financiers-là. Donc, moi, je pense qu'il y a de gros changements qui sont devant nous. Et les communes, les municipalités, l'État, tout le monde a intérêt qu'en tout cas, que la situation change, que les choses soient digitalisées.
Okay, merci beaucoup, Samba. So, in terms of like trends identified by Samba, the first one is on the municipalities front. They're in a very tough situation in terms of budget at the moment because they haven't been able to collect any taxes in the past 3 months. Too many municipalities are now in a situation where they're not able to pay salaries, and in the longer run, it will be hard for them to basically make any kind of investment, even though those investments are highly needed. And Samba also mentions that, I mean, we're still in the crisis. COVID-19 is not over, and it will keep going. And I think what it says is basically the longer it goes, the more it's going to show the importance of digitalizing tax collection and digitalizing services. Because at the moment, they would like to collect taxes because there are still businesses running where you could collect some taxes, but the investment that they would have to make to protect the agents to go physically is actually not worth the amount of taxes that they would collect. So that's one point where it really sees the value for municipalities to digitalize, to be more resilient in case another crisis happens. The other area is on financial inclusion and on building resilience as well. What Samba is saying is that in Senegal, the state is trying to help vulnerable people, but also small businesses with like payments and sorry, the word doesn't come to me, but basically with small payments to help them go through the crisis, but they can't identify them at the moment. So he really sees that small businesses will have a strong incentive to like build their identity, build their visibility, and digitalize what they do in case another crisis happens, to be basically eligible to receive those payments. So he sees a trend of digitalizing and also formalizing a little bit these businesses. Even though there is an advantage of being informal because you can escape some of the taxes, the problem is when you need help, you're invisible to the state. Maya, the same question to you. What you also work a lot, I mean, with companies, but also with municipalities, local governments. Are you seeing the similar trends or other trends in the market?
Yeah, totally. So even before the pandemic happened, I think approaching the municipality is not really easy, but because we are focusing on the smart city solution, and we are I think only Qlue can provide the end-to-end solution for the smart city, and there are so many cities already using our solution, so we have the name and the track record already. But because of so many uncertainty, and then all the budget, this is talking still about the municipality, all the budget is cutting down and so on. So we only can approach them if it is only the solution that related to COVID-19 itself.
Okay.
Yeah. Other than that, they will say we have no budget, the budget is cut off. All of us is really focused only for the COVID-19 prevention and so on. So that's why by Qlue is pivoting not only the portfolio solution, but also the business model that we provide so many engine and also thermal sensor and so on. That's our opportunity, so we can approach back to the municipality and also the corporation. So from there, they can see they are looking this kind of solution to help them for the COVID-19 itself, and then there is an opportunity for us so they can use the solution. The only challenge actually is about the traveling. You know that Indonesia is a very big country with, again, 512 cities. And here, traveling out of town, not only flying, I mean, using a plane and so on. Even though if we would like to travel only just crossing the city is a bit hard. So many, bureaucracy and so on. So I think the only challenge is about how they can support us providing all the administrative tasks. But, the opportunity is not only on the municipality or the city itself. Focus on how to sell our solution to the ministry, and then we call it state-owned enterprise and so on. Is also another huge opportunity, and all of them actually shifting all the meeting and so on to online itself. So they understand that interact with people, they need to avoid and so on. So I think I can see how effective it is. This kind of situation, we can offer our solution that match into their problems. Yeah. So again, I think I'm still looking this as an opportunity, even though there is so many, limitation, restriction like traveling, and. But we still can see this as an opportunity for Qlue.
Okay, great. Actually, I'll follow up with a question from the Q&A, and I'll start taking a question. So if anyone has any, please submit it there. I'll take a question from Clyde. Hi, Clyde. You're talking about the fact that municipalities are focusing on COVID-19 projects at the moment. Do you have examples of these projects? Clyde mentioned Indonesia, Bergerac. I don't know if I pronounced it as well. And he's also asking whether otherwise if you have private sector clients who are looking for COVID-19 specific solutions. I think you've mentioned sensors, but is there anything else?
Well, actually the AI based, we combined the AI based solution into our thermal sensor. So for example, the Qlue thermal that we built is not only detect your thermal, but also your mass detection, because here is a mandatory using mask. And then it's also possible using the face recognition to integrate to your, for example, barrier gate, so there will be no contact any longer with whatever gate that you require going into your office or your building. And then also possible using the still face recognition or the AI engine, integrate to the HR or attendance system, and so many party integration. So the ideas actually is heavy on using the sensor and also the machine learning. So the self-service and also the contactless process it happened. So that kind of opportunity that we are very deep in terms of building and put it into our solution. Yeah. So talking about the Indonesia Bergerak.com initiative, thank you that you are mentioned about those kind of initiatives. So actually, Qlue as part of the shareholder. There is a state-owned enterprise that also own Qlue, and they also having multiple startup, not only Qlue, that we can collaborate all together. So this initiative actually is coming from our shareholder. So this is, if you are talking, is there like who funding it? No one funding it. It's all initiative that we do it for free. Something like we do it for CSR, and actually not only this, Qlue is also taking as a task force in the Indonesian government with more than 20 startup and also unicorn, and we are helping them building the dashboard and the analytics, including with whoever citizen reporting using our app, so it will be reported to the government directly. So for example, like what we've been Qlue doing with this initiative, the Indonesia Bergerak.com. So actually you can access that. So you can see right away so many citizens reporting the social condition starting that we launched on mid-March. So for example, we are activating several label or categories. So for example, you can see in your neighborhood is the hospital is full, or you think your neighbor is like the COVID-19 suspect, and then you also see like crowd people in some areas, so you can easily report that using our application, and then it goes right away to the government official that related to, because here, like in Jakarta, so many people insecure and very afraid, right? For example, they see in their neighborhood so many people gather around. What they're doing is a virus there, and so on. So they are not comfortable. They just can easily report that to the app using our application, and then it's right away goes to the task force in Jakarta government official, and then they right away will helping make it clear so the crowd is over. Yeah, so those things that we do together, and no one funded because it's an initiative all together, and the mission, the social mission is still the same. We are helping the government or the country try to reduce or prevent in terms of this COVID-19.
Okay, Thank you very much for these details. I'm going to turn to Samba now, but I just want to warn you, we've talked about sensors, we've talked about AI, we've talked about data. There's a question that will come your way about customer trust and how you handle privacy. But I'm taking the question from Becky to Samba now, who's asking, basically, how do you make sure that your service addresses vulnerable groups who may not have access, for instance, to quality internet? So Samba, in your case, how is your solution built? So you talked a lot about vulnerable businesses and vulnerable population. How is your service built so they can have access even though they might not have a smartphone? Donc Samba, la question elle est sur l'accès au service, et en particulier si on regarde les populations vulnérables, que ce soit les individus ou les commerçants, qui n'ont pas forcément accès à un mobile, à un smartphone avec Internet. Comment est-ce que vous construisez des solutions qui sont accessibles à tous? Faut activer le micro.
Oui, merci.
Ouais.
Alors, à la base, en fait, notre solution, en fait, destinée aux collectivités locales, on équipait, en fait, les agents de la municipalité. Donc, c'est nous-mêmes qui les équipons en leur donnant, en fait, un device sur lequel il y a notre application qui est intégrée. Et ça, c'est pour les agents de la municipalité qu'on les donne. Mais depuis qu'on a commencé à intégrer la partie inclusion financière, maintenant, c'est disponible, en fait, d'accéder à la plateforme. Chaque les contrats ont accès directement à la plateforme. Et on est en train de mettre en place la partie, en fait, app sur le Play Store pour permettre, en fait, à l'ensemble des contribuables de pouvoir, par ceux qui ont des smartphones, de pouvoir télécharger l'application. On est en train, en même temps, de travailler sur les future phones pour permettre, en fait, à ceux qui n'ont pas la possibilité, en fait, d'avoir des smartphones, de pouvoir avoir accès à nos services en utilisant des shortcuts qu'on est en train de travailler avec les opérateurs télécoms. Donc, on est en train d'aller vers ces deux types de solutions pour vulgariser l'accès aux contribuables, en tout cas à la population qui n'ont pas forcément, en fait, des smartphones et qui ont besoin aussi d'avoir accès à nos services.
Okay, merci beaucoup, Samba. So Samba's explaining that on the tax collection side, it's not so much of an issue because the agents are the municipality agents are actually the ones who are equipped with the digital solution. So they have been able to equip them with devices where the Sudpay app is installed. Obviously, when you're talking about financial inclusion and trying to reach like businesses or end users, it's a different ball game. And you have direct access, so you need to provide a service and a solution that's going to be usable by as many people as possible. So they have developed an app, but they're also working on a solution for more basic phones that would be shortcode, so therefore USSD based. And for people who are not familiar with USSD, it's when you do like #123#, for instance, or *123* to access very simple commands, and this is compatible with most phones, like 99% plus. The same question for you, Maya. When people think of Qlue, they think of a smartphone app where you can access services and report and so on. How do you make sure that the service is also available and inclusive for people who might not have a smartphone?
Well, actually, the application, when we're talking about the reporting, is available everywhere. But the key is about the government that following up, right? So whenever any citizen reporting any social problem, whatever it is that COVID-19, is that mass crowd or whatever, hospital full, whatever. Yeah, the government need to following up. So meaning, even though the service is available, the one that can be reported directly to the task force under the government official in each of the city have to be collaborate with us. Meaning, meaning is our client. Okay, but again, well, the infrastructure itself is a must. So meaning we only require like a minimum bandwidth only to access the app, right? And in Indonesia, I think the consumer behavior is like a lot of people, not only in the big city, even though in the small city, they are using more than one phone, more than one smartphone, because the smartphone here I think is very cheap. and they can use it very easy. But if you ask me whether the infrastructure is mandatory or not, yes, the infrastructure actually is mandatory. And the second one, what is not really is also important, is about the following up from the task force itself. Because later on, if any citizen that report to the app and nobody cares, nobody following up, nobody solve the issue and so on, there will be no reason for citizen to report the problems, right? So that's why, again, the government itself have to use our services. So in the system, the report is possible by government official to take care of the issue and so on. So yeah, I think that's the key.
Okay. Good. And now I'm coming at you with the question that I told you I'd ask. You talked about AI. You using it now for people to report issues and so on. How do you deal with data privacy, but also with citizen trust, which are related, but sometimes you can lose the trust even though you don't do anything wrong with the data. There's a perception angle as well. How do you deal with that?
So that's the beauty that we are having a very deep solution in artificial intelligence, right? About the data privacy. So actually, there is two option or two alternatives that we can give to the clients. Any corporation or a government, municipality, ministry, whatever that would like to use our services. One, actually, our technology is very possible having the on-premise deployment. So all of our solution can be implemented locally in their infrastructure and network. We just need to assess, and it is very doable in terms of the technology that we can right away deploy in your environment. That's actually most of the model that so many government official, including the president itself, because president dashboard, that Qlue, the one that building it, is prefer to have the on-premise deployment. So there is no issue on the data privacy because we don't have it. We build it in your environment, and that's secure in your environment. There is one option. The second one, there are so many, I can say, corporation that would like to seek an easy solution to use the services. They don't want to build their own infrastructure in their premises, and they want somebody else, like a vendor or other company, doing it for them. So that's why they choose Qlue. In this case, all the infrastructure and the services actually host in our office, and totally we are put everything in terms of the under contract and confidentiality. Our client nowadays is like reaching 100 at the moment, and there are no issue in terms of the confidentiality or data privacy because, well, the president, some of the ministry and so on is also our client. So I think we can guarantee about the data privacy itself. The second one is about the trust from the citizen, because when they are access our app, they need to do some verification about your biography or your information, right? So our application is already possible to identify your location because it is put the geotagging including in the apps. So by the time anyone that register using our app, for example, even though you are overseas and so on, they right away identify your location, and there are some verification question that would like to avoid that you are a threat or a hack, because like in Indonesia, we are dealing with so many hawks. Okay, so this is how that Qlue support government that we are against the hawks. Yeah. And some of also our other portfolio solution that our AI engine is also possible to identify if anyone would like to give like a false information and so on when they are access our application. So I think that's the beauty in terms of using the artificial intelligence as your core technology. Okay, so I think it's always two sides, whether you would like to trust, this kind of solution, and then how you can put it actually as a solution to solve your problem. I think that's how we see this as our advantage.
Cool. Thank you very much. Yeah, it is. I mean, it is an ongoing question. I think it is important to keep that at the top of mind, how you deal with the data and how you deal with the trust of the users. We're getting to the end of the hour. Unfortunately, I will take the last question on the Q&A before a closing question. I like this one from Anthony. I'll go to you, Samba, first. The question is there any potential collaboration between the solution provided by Sudpay and Qlue? I would broaden the question a little bit, because collaboration might not be easy given the distance and the current focus on the local markets. But is there an opportunity for a solution like Sudpay to include like parts of what Qlue is doing on civic engagement? So Samba, la question elle est sur les opportunités de collaboration entre Sudpay et Qlue, que j'élargis un petit peu sur les opportunités pour une solution comme celle de Sudpay d'intégrer des éléments comme ceux de la solution de Qlue, par exemple tout ce qui est intégration un peu plus large avec les municipalités ou la capacité pour les citoyens de reporter des problèmes en local, ce genre de choses. N'oublie pas de réactiver le micro.
Ok, Maxime, en fait, je pense que la solution de Qlue, c'est une belle solution. Et en faisant des intégrations, en tout cas, je pense qu'avec Sudpay, on peut faire un partenariat qui permettrait en fait aux citoyens, globalement aux citoyens, pas uniquement les contribuables, mais l'ensemble des citoyens de la commune, de pouvoir poser en fait leurs questions, de pouvoir en fait demander en fait quelque chose en fait à leur autorité locale et d'avoir des réponses directement depuis une plateforme digitale. Nous, notre focus c'est aujourd'hui les contribuables, mais avec Qlue, je pense que c'est plus que les contribuables, c'est l'ensemble des citoyens en fait de la municipalité. Je pense qu'avec ce il y a des synergies réelles qui pourront intéresser en fait les municipalités parce que ça pousserait en tout cas en fait, les choses plus loin en permettant en fait aux municipalités et à leurs citoyens d'être plus proches et de mieux communiquer le plus efficacement possible. À mon avis, il y a des synergies à faire entre nos deux structures.
Okay, merci beaucoup. So Samba's answer is, in his opinion, there are a lot of synergies between the two and opportunities, why not, for partnership between the two solutions. Sudpay at the moment is focusing on taxpayers, but he sees the value potentially broadening to not just limit to taxpayers, but citizens more broadly, and create that communication between citizens and local authority, not just around taxes, but more broadly, and being able to ask your local authority questions and report problems and so on. Turning to you, Maya, the other way around. Today, you don't look at all at tax collection. Do you think there would be an opportunity to add this in your portfolio, or do you think Indonesian municipalities are not ready to outsource this?
Yeah. Well, with all the right direction and the transparency and also the GCG that drive by the government here, I think the citizen don't have a lot of option, right? So I believe this kind of thing will be good, and in our product vision ahead, we would like to integrate like a one-stop solution for the citizen using our app, because there are like so many municipalities that request the same thing. So just using our app, and everyone can use the same app for all the solution, including the tax, and then maybe would like to have like their identity cards and so on and so on. So I think I'm looking forward to having this kind of collaboration. I did not hear other startup, I mean like locally or maybe in Asia, so I think we will be more than happy to have the partnership with you as well.
Oh, great. Yeah, I mean, you're in touch already, but that'd be good for you to talk a little bit more. I think what I hear in both your answers is that there is already, and there will be an even stronger wave of digitization, and the idea of like thinking of when you go to your local town hall or your local authorities, what do you want to do there? You want to renew your passport, you want to report an issue, you want to pay your taxes, and being able to build is what I heard in your answer is being able to build a one-stop shop when you can have as many of those services there is actually creating a stronger value proposition for the end user. Okay, so now it's the last question. We'll do a quick one because we have only 3 minutes left. I'll go to you first, Maya. Based on what you've learned in the past 3 months, what is the best piece of advice you can give to other startups that are going through what you're going through?
Yeah. So I don't think this is an easy situation for everyone in this world. But again, I think the key is about the discipline, and then very cost efficient in terms running the operational in the office. And then the third one, with this kind of hard situation and challenges, you can see how agile you are, the management and the company, and even your employees as well. Yeah. There will be so many hard decisions need to be built by the management. I know it's not easy, but I think this period or this moment will be very good to find the right character. It's not only for your company, but also for your employees. So okay. I always believe this will be over later. And again, we only need the spirit, you know, the positivity, and also I call it a strong mentality. Yeah, and I believe there will be so many startups I think can be facing this solution, including us.
Yeah, it is a tough time, but it can also reveal talent.
Yes,
that's an important point. Maya mentionne l'agilité, la discipline, la positivité. Est-ce que tu as d'autres recommandations pour les startups qui sont en train de vivre ce que vous êtes en train de vivre pour s'adapter au mieux à la situation?
La rigueur, il faut être vraiment rigoureux en fait durant cette période parce que c'est très difficile. Et faire travailler les employés à distance, c'est pas facile du tout. Moi, si je prends le cas du Sénégal, où on a essayé en fait le travail à distance, ça n'était pas facile du tout parce que le contexte ne le permet pas. Vous savez que les Africains vivent en famille. Quelqu'un qui doit être chez lui, qui travaille alors qu'il a les enfants à côté, c'est pas vicieux, vraiment rigoureux pour faire travailler et contrôler ses employés correctement pour qu'ils regardent correctement, quoi. C'est des choses qui ne sont pas faciles, mais si on ne le fait pas, on risque en fait de passer du petit pas avec Maya sur le type de management que l'on doit adapter durant ces périodes qui sont des périodes spéciales.
Merci beaucoup, Samba. The point that Samba's adding here is actually quite important and something we forget too much in a lot of contexts. It was mentioning like being rigorous and being focused and having to adapt your management style as well. I was mentioning like the fact that in Senegal, most people live with their families, and so working from home is actually not easy, or in some cases not an option. So having to find the right balance, like between understanding their situation, but making sure that they operate in an environment where they keep delivering. I think it's an important point. It's a crisis. It's a global crisis. We need to obviously you need to run a business, but you need to also care for your people. I want to thank you a lot, Maya and Samba, for giving us an hour of your time and sharing your perspective. Obviously thanking you as panelists, but also thanking the GSMA team who's working behind the scene to help organize this type of sessions, and everyone who joined in particular, and specifically Becky, Clyde, and Anthony for asking questions. One last comment: if you're new to our content, you can find a lot more on our webpage. I will post this in the chat if it hasn't been done already. So please feel free to interact with us. There's a lot of content in there. I see that earlier we shared with you the link to a report we did on CivicTech, as well as a video that was done both on Sudpay and and on Qlue. So go there and learn more if you want. Emily, if you don't mind resharing this content. And at a personal level, I'm also always happy to interact. So I'll post in there my personal Twitter and LinkedIn. Please feel free to get in touch. So thanks again, everyone. Thanks, Samba. Thanks, Maya. I hope we'll get a chance to chat very, very soon, and I hope we'll get you involved in future webinars as well.
Yes.
Bye, and have a good rest of the day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Merci. Merci.
Merci.